one of the things I've come to learn about winning in life, it has nothing most times to do with your environment. It has nothing to do most times with how you started out in life. For instance, during my secondary school days, I will regard myself as the most dunce, the most unteachable student among my peers. In fact, we were the backseaters. We are those students that love not to be known or recognized by teachers. For some point, I skipped classes just in order for me to avoid the embarrassment of not being able to solve problems, mathematical or academic problems. It was so serious that at some point my father refused to pay my tuition fees. Specifically, I could remember when I wanted to write my junior WAEC, my father had to call me up one early morning around 5 a.m. I was a very good player when it comes to football. Right from when I was 7 years, I started playing very well. In fact, I was nicknamed JJ Okocha back then. Until date, some persons in my community still call me JJ or Okocha because I was good. I became so popular that it got my father pissed because academically there was nothing to write home about. Where I am, I could hardly make a complete sentence without messing up. Composition, writing about composition, even about myself, was a problem even in my secondary school days, in junior class per se. So when it was time to register for junior WAEC, my father wasn't satisfied. He was actually not ready to pay. So he one early morning he woke me up around 5 a.m., called my mom to our then sitting room in our mud house and sat me down and placed my junior WAEC fee on the table with my football at the other corner of the table, and he started and said all he had to say, and he concluded by asking me to choose between paying for my school or choosing football. And it was agreed that if I'm choosing football, he will not bother me again about going to school or studying, that he will allow me to go into the world and go and play football, and whatever I make out of it is none of his business. But if I choose to pay for my junior WAEC, I'm to focus on studying and never to play football again. It was a very tough decision for me at my tender age. Then I should be like 13 or going to 13. And then my mom patted me at the back and encouraged me to focus on my education, because then my father said whatever I choose will be stamped for life and nobody will go against it. So out of serious pain, because football was the only source of motivation I had then, I only feel myself, I always feel belonged, appreciated when I'm on the field of play, because that is where something significant, something people talk about or appreciate is seen from me. In the classroom, I was a dullard, so I chose to focus on my education. Now, it was a tough beginning for me. Why am I telling these stories? Many of the time, people see me as probably somebody that had a spectacular upbringing, that had it all fixed or planned out from my childhood, or probably very talented as a child, as a kid while growing up. But the truth is that I wasn't the best. I was among those that will be regarded as unteachable. Those kids that are always like, leave this one, let's focus on this one. So, but along the line, personal development became my core focus. Because you see, the educational system will teach you what have been programmed for you to learn. And even after you, the same people coming behind you or those who have gone ahead of you are being taught the same through the same system, syllabus, curriculums. So it's like a kind of a robotic system that have been programmed that this is the way people will go in life. So oftentimes, a lot of people go to are excellent, brilliant when it comes to academic endeavors, but in the real world, they are not often seen. So same success of cramming, studying cannot replicate success in the real life. Now, this is where personal development comes in. Now, personal development is your ability to identify something that you can consistently work on and through which you can be able to add value and add value to humanity and remain relevant within your catchment. So personal development has a lot to do with how you reason, what you intend to do, the career path you choose, the relationship you choose, the principles you live by, your resilience, your ability to give in more than it's expected in your field of play or endeavor. Personal development had a lot to do with you questioning the status quo, being able to develop a mind of your own, to be able to decide and be able to know that there are two sides to a coin. Personal development goes beyond the foundational teachings to which you come from. Personal development is a personal decisions. Personal development has nothing to do with your situation. It has nothing to do with your background. It has nothing to do with how you started or where you are coming from. Personal development is your intentional compass through life. The things you decide to do, the places you decide to go, the sacrifices you decide to make. There are persons that doesn't have that ability, that mindset to believe that buying a personal development book could lead to developing principles that will pave way for them in life. There are persons that doesn't believe that listening to such teachings like I'm doing can open up their mind to searching for or to searching to rediscover themselves and trying to understand some abilities that are within them as a humans. Because for every human, there are drops of greatness in everyone. There is that limitless possibility mindset that is embedded in us. But now it takes a personal discipline for one to be able to open up that area of development, and it is personal. It's not what anybody can teach you. You will not be taught in Harvard about it. Nobody, no professor will teach you about it. Personal development most often are those things you do behind closed doors, those things you indulge yourself doing, those things that you develop a cognitive pattern overnight, over time, something you practice over and over and over and over again, and it becomes a way of life. So most times this has been one of my way of relating with people. Most times I'm not interested in where you are coming from. Most often I'm not interested in your past experiences, your failures, how you failed. But I want to know how those experiences have made you. Who have you become as a result of those experiences? To know how those experiences of yours have shaped you. Who the person you've become as a result of your experiences. Now, I was listening to one of my favorite and popular speaker of recent, and he said that oftentimes it's not about our situations, but it's about our decisions that determines whom or the person will become at the end of the day. So I've learned over time to begin to see life not from where people are coming from, but whom the person they will become as a result of where they are coming from, as a result of their past experience, as a result of the privileges or the lack of them that they've experienced. So if you want to build a solid pattern in life, you must imbibe the principle of personal development, because no matter what is happening or what has happened to you, it's about those things you diligently do and focus on, the path you decide to follow, the life you decide to live, the aspirations, the dreams you decide to harbor within you, the goals you decide to chase, the sacrifices you are ready to put into your craft, into your endeavors. So it's not about your background, it's not about how bad or how good you started. It's about the person you've become at the end of the day. So this has kept me on the right path in life. I have failed numerous times. I've hit the lowest point in most attempts I've tried out in. I've hit the lowest point in life in so many endeavors I've ventured into. But what has kept me going is the personality I've built over the years. Who am I upstairs? It's not about what anybody have said. It's not about being written off as an unteachable kid back then. It's not about the opportunities that you never had. It's not about the privileges that you never had, or the abundance that were once your birthright that you had. But it's about what you have built yourself to become up here. See, one of the most read book of all time, the Bible says that the thinking of a man cannot be separated from him, and that has a lot to do with our mindset. So if you must survive, you must be tougher than time upstairs. You must be able to differentiate between what is constant and what is happening, a situation, a phase that you are passing through. Now, if you realize that whatever situation you are into is a phase that will come and go, then the question is, who are you going to become when the phase is over? Are you going to be better or worse? Are you going to become stronger or weaker? So no matter how you were celebrated or you are currently being celebrated, don't forget personality, your personal development plan and routine must be followed, and you must be consistent with it. So even though if you are moved, if you're uprooted from your current place where you are domiciled to another region, to a different country, to a different sector or a different company, will you still remain who you are? Will you still be able to have that same winning mindset, that same mindset that can be able to get the results out of life? Because oftentimes it's not about your situation, just like my popular speaker said. It's not about your situation. It's about what you are built of. What is the substance in you? It's not about where you are, but what is in you. So if you are taken out of where you are to a different department, a different weather, a different situation, a different country, a different sector, Do you still have that thing in you? So you need to start looking inward. Is it about you? Is it actually you or the situation around you? My name remains NJK. Thank you. If you've watched this point, I truly appreciate. Cheers.